Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Deputy President. Food quality in particular and biosecurity in general is extremely important to the people of Australia and the people of Queensland. So as a servant to the people of Queensland and Australia, I want to make some comments in support of the bill, but also to raise a significant issue that we learned. Our rural sector is under pressure, Madam Deputy President, and so we need this biosecurity bill to provide some security for the rural sector in particular, but Australians in general. Our serious concerns refer to item 6, section 9 of the bill, which changes the definition of the Ballast Water Convention. The proposed amendment adds the words, "as enforced from time to time," to the convention definition. I must say, Madam Deputy President, that alarm bells rang for us in One Nation when we read that amendments, as we have a fundamental distrust for United Nations conventions and agencies. The idea of supporting a bill that prospectively binds Australia to future amendments to a United Nations convention was enough and is enough to give us serious doubts. Honourable senators will not be surprised to learn that we immediately support advice from Minister Joyce's office about the provision. The advice we received is that Section 9 means what it says, namely that if the Ballast Water Convention is amended in the future, then that amended convention is the one to which the Biosecurity Act refers. Of course, any amendment to the convention must, however, be ratified by Australia before it becomes binding on our country, and this is the reassurance I have received from Minister Joyce's office. No changes will be made to the convention without the proposals being agreed to by the Joint Standing Committee on Treaties following a detailed inquiry and analysis of the implications of the changes. I am further advised by the Minister's office, Madam Deputy President, that no changes to the Ballast Water Convention will be made without Australia's approval, and those changes will then be incorporated into Australian law by legislation passed by our Parliament, this Parliament. The legislation currently before the Senate, and which One Nation senators are intending to support, cannot be altered by the United Nations without approval of the Australian Parliament. Our senators will not tolerate giving the United Nations an open check on any matter, especially one as important as seawater ballast, nor will it cede sovereignty to our country to the United Nations. On this basis alone, One Nation senators will support Section 9 of the bill. So, as I said, Madam Deputy President, we had serious concerns about the automatic amendment provision in item 6, section 9, but we've been reassured by the Minister that that will still need to be ratified by this Parliament and pass through this Parliament independently. We are particularly concerned about the United Nations, and I've spoken in the past on repeated occasions that we need to exit from the United Nations. We are concerned because the United Nations has become a Trojan horse for destroying national sovereignty around the world. One Nation senators were in unity when we toured the Murray-Darling Basin last week, in fact, and we learned a lot. And we saw the impact of United Nations regulations being pushed through the Murray-Darling Basin, driving that Murray-Darling Basin plan, along with the grubby politics of interstate politics that is pushing that plan. We'll be having much more to say about the Murray-Darling Basin in coming weeks once we complete our research. We know that farmers in particular are under threat from having their property rights seized and removed. We know that they're under pressure from energy prices and from over-regulation, as is small business in our country under pressure from over-regulation and energy prices. Farmers are also facing pressure from banks. And yet we have signed, apparently, more than 7,000 treaties. And we know that UN Agenda 21, as it's known, or more particularly, the United Nations Rio de Janeiro Declaration for 21st Century Global Governance, which was signed by Paul Keating's government in 1992, is undermining the sovereignty of this country. We are assured, we first of all support the government in its bill to improve biosecurity that is needed to protect the key competitive advantage we have in the rural sector, and that is the quality of our rural products. But secondly, we made it clear that we do not accept any ceding of our country's sovereignty to any foreign body. And it would be ironic indeed, would it not, Madam Deputy President, if we protected the biosecurity and then failed to protect the security of the people of Australia. So with our qualification on item 6 and section 9 of the bill, we will be supporting this bill.
Thank you.